Hi, this is Mark at the Wicked Edge Experts Corner, where we try to discuss everything doing with Wicked Edge and making sharpening more enjoyable. I'm going to talk about sharpening strokes. We were earlier talking about burr, but let me take the time to talk about each of the sharpening strokes. Uh, for those of you who have heard of Gendi, there's the owner of Gendi is Tom Blodgett, and Tom some years ago made some YouTube videos showing basic sharpening techniques, sharpening strokes, and his videos are some of the best ones that I've seen. I'm going to try to um, exemplify each of the different sharpening strokes and try to demystify them. I keep saying demystify because there's this misunderstanding that there's a certain special way of doing it for a wicked edge sharpener user, that you need to do it a certain way, and if you do it wrong, your knife edges won't be sharp. And I hear that over years and years through the forums and whatever, that am I doing it wrong? So let's just go through and do a breakdown first. And let me tell you that there's no set pattern way of doing anything. It's up to you to use this bench vise tool and a variety of sharpening strokes to apply an edge to this knife. I could do it 6 different ways and get 6 different sharp edges. I have put together my routine, my sharpening routine, my techniques, what I do, my different strokes, because that routine, that regimen works well for me. So we're going to start with, I'm going to work with this practice knife. We're working with 600 grit. I do work with safety shields because they physically protect my fingers from the knife. What I want to start with are the basic strokes. We have the scrubbing stroke, which is an up and down stroke, where I am scrubbing up and down across the length of the knife. The abrasive is touching against the bevel. It's flat. I'm making full flat contact, and I'm scrubbing. How hard I scrub depends upon the grit that I'm using and where I am in the knife. If I'm starting, I'll start with a coarser grit, a little more effort and more scrubbing pressure to get that established. So we have the scrubbing stroke that we use. I'll scrub lighter with a finer grit than I would with a heavier grit. I start heavier with every grit to start with, and I mediate my pressure and tune it to my edge as I'm working through the grit. Okay, so we start with the scrubbing stroke. Everything that you do doesn't work unless you're making contact between the stone and the knife edge. So when we use our strokes, we want to make a contact, a full flat contact. I'm working across the edge. I'm not working, if I got a bad dent, I would still work across the edge. I don't work one place because it'll make a hollow spot in your edge. We want to keep the edge even, so we work across. Okay, that's a scrubbing stroke. You can use a round and round stroke. That is up to you. I'm going round and round, and then whatever stroke I do, round and round, I repeat it likewise on the other side of the knife. I work the knife in portions, balance it out. I don't necessarily count, but I keep track of what I'm doing on the left and repeat it on the right and vice versa. all the time working from one portion of the knife edge across the other portion. No matter how long the knife is or how short it is, I work in portions and then blend it together. So I would do my round and round and go round and round, and then I blend them. I blend with an alternating stroke back and forth to even out what I've done. So that's a round and round stroke. Okay, now we have what's called a edge trailing stroke, where we start down low on the knife and we lift the stone up across the bevel, down on the knife and lift it up, down on the knife and lift it up. The same thing on both sides. I make contact and lift, make contact and lift, make contact and lift. We're lifting up and off the edge. We're trailing, trailing off the edge trailing, trailing off the edge. I do those edge trailing alternatingly, one side then the other. Again, it's not about slapping, it's about making contact, staying in contact, and working the edge. Staying in contact and working the edge. I'm alternating. Whatever I do to one side, I'm up and off. I'm trailing off the edge. Whoops, I'm working with shorter guide rods than I'm used to. Okay, and then I'm alternating. We also have the edge leading stroke, which is a stroke where I contact the edge and I'm leading at the edge and working down. Edge leading, leading at the edge and working down. On the other side, contacting the stone, working at the edge and leading down into it. So we have edge trailing strokes. I'm doing alternating side, edge trailing strokes where I contact the stone against the edge and pull down, contact it, pull down. I'm working across the knife edge, back and forth, and overlapping my strokes. Again, this is an edge leading stroke. Now the advantage of an edge leading stroke is if you have a burr, which is something that you want. You want that burr. That burr is that physical manifestation, that key, that clue. That burr is that clue that your steel is working up to the apex as you work your strokes. And when you're at the apex, then you have your edge exposed. If you expose that burr, the edge leading stroke, leading onto the edge, scratches off that bevel and makes it even. Before I clamp that up, let me just show you again. Edge leading stroke, alternating side. I'm working both sides of the knife. Edge leading stroke, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're working with the alternating side, edge leading stroke. Alternating side, edge leading stroke. Work from the front to the back, from the front to the back. Work from the back to the front. That's up to you. You can use your edge leading stroke any way you want. You can walk it back and forth. You can work it up and down. You can go round and round. Edge leading stroke, alternating side, working forward, overlapping. And that exposes, knocks off the burr and exposes the edge. I finish each grit in my routine with an edge leading, alternating side, edge leading stroke in order to bear that sharpened edge and that burr. So I start with scrubbing strokes and I end up with an edge leading stroke. In between, I might use more scrubbing, I might use round and round, I might use one direction. That's up to you. These strokes are your tools. How you choose to put your tools together to complete your job is your regimen, and that's up to you. These are the strokes that I have found that works for me. Now you can do at the end, if you choose to, I choose to expose the burr doing an edge leading stroke. There is also a school of thought to use an edge trailing stroke. So some people use an edge trailing stroke where I'm placing the stone against the bevel and I'm working off of it as I run forward, walking up the knife, and I'm alternating sides, left, right. No slapping. Everything is contact, placement, contact. Get it flat and then off. Placement, contact. Get it flat and then off. You might want to put a tilt to it as you do your alternating strokes, or you may want to work more up and down. That's up to you. You have to assess what you need to do as you're working the edge. Now, I've been working this edge between the last video and this one, and I haven't inspected the bevels. So I do work with the scope, but I'm trying to show you that it's not about, I don't do what I do because I work with the scope and I work with magnification and high precision angle cubes. It's about the basics and your strokes and your regimen and your stroke direction. I've been trying to show you the basics, and that should pretty much do it. You have your round and round, your scrubbing up, down, your edge trailing, and your edge down and on leaning. And the combination of those four, working the edge, I work all my knife edges in portions, and I overlap and blend it across the edge and blend it from side to side in order to keep my bevels centered and even. So there's the sharpening strokes again. Tom Blodgett from Gendy, his YouTube website, Gendy Industries, has these videos. I'm going to try to post the links to these videos again in the comments underneath this video for those who want to watch it. It's maybe a game changer for the newcomers. The basis is everything. Once you get your basis, then it's all about refinement. Thanks.